Well, hello and welcome. And today we are looking at the Ailing Korle Bu. It does not get more important than health. Health is life, and it's all about life and death. And so anytime the issue of health comes up, sentiments are genuinely raised and sentiments are, justifiably raised. And here we are, Korle Bu in the news again. And why is Korle Bu in the news? Well, the neurosurgical department is closing down its recovery units because, number one, they don't have enough staff, and number two, they don't even have enough equipment. But what was the story? Well, 2 years ago, the department was closed down for refurbishment. While the department was closed down, an individual won a contract to refit this department. So they imported whatever it is they need for this department and left it in the boxes for 2 years. When the department got opened, the plastic tubes, the machines that use batteries, everything are now worn out and need replacing. But the critical or the sad fact is that while all these petty either overlooking or mismanagement is going on, lives are needlessly being lost and people are needlessly suffering. However, the underlying or the very painful, the frustrating part for you and I is that those in the helm of affairs, if they suffer any condition that they need any neurosurgeon, you and I who have to go to this place would have to, out of our taxes, pay. So they travel to the usual South Africa, the Germanys, the Dubai, to have to go to a neurosurgical department where it hasn't been closed down for refurbishment and nobody has ordered anything and has been boxed up. So as a citizen, sometimes you sit down and wonder, who do we blame? Do we blame our political elites? Do we blame the civil servants? Or do you blame you and I, the average guy who probably are not angry enough? And therefore we hear these stories day in and day out. How many times have we heard, CEOs ordering Audi A8 because the CEO needs a car? And here we are with tubes and renewables, which we need in the hospital to save life, not being cared for. Enough is enough if you ask me. But what is the solution and how do we get it? Is it from the political side? Is it from the civil service side? Or is it just the average patient who needs to probably sue or jump up and down a bit more to demand what is rightfully theirs? For health, we can't politicize or play with it. My name is Nana Nsakwao, and this is PM Express, and today the sad issue of the Ailing Korle Bu is on the table. Don't move. Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for staying. But before we even set the conversation going, let's look at what happened. But please send your messages to 0560 800 000, 0560 800 000. Please send your messages in because you and I are the average patient who walk into these places or this could befall us any day. So send your comments in and then I'll read them. But let's just watch the insert of what transpired today.
The minister toured the emergency unit, which is still under renovation, child health, eye, recovery, maternity and accident centers. He also visited the 3 clinics which have been closed as a result of the unavailability of consumables and other essential items needed to effectively run the units. 2 years ago, government engaged the services of a firm, Belstar, to retool all teaching hospitals in the country. Through them, consumables for hospitals were purchased. Today, most of the consumables have either expired or lie waste at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. Chief Executive Officer Dr. Gilbert Buckle explains how this has caused the shutdown of 3 clinics.
We've had items that have come in which we were not able to use because other infrastructure was not ready. So they stayed in boxes. Now you open them up, and because of the delay in using them, plastics, the plastic parts and other things have become caked or they become damaged. We have equipment that are on batteries. Because they have not been used, the batteries have run out. So now the hospital has to find ways to replace, re-equip the items.
At your own cost?
It will have to be at our cost. Currently, if we are going to wait for the debate between us and the vendor, we will never open the ICU. And that is part of the reasons why it hasn't been opened.
He mentioned alternatives for patients.
This is the ground floor surgical theatre. And evidently, it is not in our interest nor in the patient's interest to run this place the way it is now. And that's why we've asked sister hospitals like 37 and those in the Ghana Health Service to mop up the excesses that we have.
Health Minister Alex Segbefia announced new means of negotiating contracts for health facilities to avoid such excesses. He warned the law will take its course if anyone is found culpable of putting the hospital into such situations.
We have to look at the whole issue of how contracts are dealt with and ensuring that when contracts are dealt with, the end users have a part to play in it. They don't need to be the ones who sign the contract, but there has to be a level of consultation at the ground level or at a certain point so that what is really required is what is obtained.
Would there be any legal call should it be found out that there was some sort of negligence with the contractual agreement and how it was executed?
Anytime you find there's a problem with any form of issue which requires legal action must be taken.
Government is now spending $700,000 to fix the clinics and get the ICU running again. But for principal nurse at the ICU ground floor, Felix Busk Hamilton, that will not be the end of their troubles.
In fact, we should have, for a 12-bedded ICU, we should have between 60 to 80 nurses. But at the moment, we have only 20, which means that we can't open up the whole place to be used because it's one-to-one type of nursing. And it should be, for one patient, there should be 3 nurses a day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 in the evening. So it's going to be that if we don't take care, we can't even run 4.
But we are given a lot of financial clearance for a lot of nurses. So I suspect that if we look at this closely, it should not be an issue. Yes, I mean,
for Joy News, my name is Hannah Odami.
That is what we're talking about, and there's one more insert before we go, but let me remind you, we're all involved in this subject, and we need to see how passionate you are about it or how stressed you are about it. It's 0560 800 000. And already Boating in Yendi says, Nana, which Ghana are the leaders leaving for us? The young ones. It's either the life of the ordinary Ghanaian doesn't matter to our leaders, or they are too dumb to manage the country. And this is from Boatin in Yendi. Let's see what you think about this subject, how sad it is. And then before we go on, okay, I think I have Dr. Elias Suri, who's a former Director General for Ghana Health Service, on the phone, and briefly, since he's been there before, he could shed a bit of light on this issue for us. Dr. Suri, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank you too.
And, good evening to your listeners.
Good evening to Dr. Suri. Dr. Suri, when the issue of health comes up, we are all sad, we are all frustrated, a mix of anger. It's mixed emotions. And health is wealth, health is everything. So when we hear things like that, it makes you ask, why? And my question to you would be, is this the fate of Korle Bu, or can it ever change?
I think things can change. It really is surprising at this time or this day and age. We are facing such huge problems in our institutions. When I left medical school, way back in 82. I wouldn't at that time think that at this time things would be worse than when we used to be in Korle Bu. At least doctors were not many. That passed out at the time. But we had teaching. We could get equipment to be taught with. And if today they are not there and we are to have a large population to deal with, and we are producing doctors and nurses and all the medical staff, and things are not available, not only to treat the patient, but to make sure that the manpower is also well trained to come out and man at the area. It is sad. And it is even more sad when we hear that people cannot be treated just because something is missing. For a long time, perhaps we have not put things in place, and we are seeing the fruits of not investing enough into the health sector. And that is the sad thing that we should be ashamed of ourselves at this time.
Dr. Dr. Sorry, the equipments they are talking about, I mean, even though I am not in the medical field, they sound fairly basic. So why, why are we struggling? I mean, they are not like some rocket science, super duper scanners. We're just talking plastic tubes, and so why?
Now, sometimes I say, I tend to think that because we don't have maintenance in our language, we tend not to be making sure that we keep on making things work in the way. But having said that, they might not be rocket science. It is making sure that we are replacing them. Mm-hmm. But we also know that the world is changing or has changed. New things come, new ideas come, and new equipment come. If we had been replacing things gradually, it wouldn't be of huge cost to us at this moment. So invariably, we have got management failure, and we have also got perhaps higher level intervention that will support the system to work. And therefore, over years, we have not been looking at this. In our bid to expand, we tend to expand, not looking at also making sure as you expand, what you are leaving behind is firm on the ground and can cooperate, and you can fall back to it when there's a problem when you are expanding. And that is the case of Korle Bu. As we began moving out into the regions, creating more hospitals, bringing in, which is good because the population is increasing, every person should not be coming to Korle Bu. But the thing is that we must have some national hospitals that should never let go, because we will have to fall upon them. And they will be the point to always bring new ideas and even train others that will go into the periphery. So as we are expanding, we have to make sure that those institutions are still working well. And if new knowledge is to come, that would be the place that the new knowledge will start and move out, roll out to the other areas. But we have not taken all these into consideration. And Korle Bu, I must say, yes, I passed through Korle Bu as Director General, not only Director, as a Regional Director, I've been in the system, but I've moved from the hospital to a district to a region before I became Director General. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've seen development throughout. But I tell you, we have not put enough into making sure that the old structures are still working very well. And that is what we are seeing in Korle Bu today.
Dr. Sorry, is it because maybe as a people, I come to the hospital Well, I'm even privileged to see a doctor, so how dare me complain if the floor is dirty or if the lab technician does not use rubber gloves, how dare me complain? I mean, could it be the reason why things are falling because we haven't demanded what is rightfully ours?
Well, partially, but let me give you an example, something I observed in Central Region. Central Region has got one of the best hospitals. The Central Regional Hospital as it is today. In actual fact, it was when I was the regional director that that hospital was built. And in managing it, before we completed the hospital, I said we must have a mindset in that hospital. And what I did was that I sought the support of the ministry to allow me to interview and get the right people who will come as the hospital is being built. The management will be in place, and as we commission it, the management would have known what they want to see the hospital to be and put in the necessary structures, management structures. I tell you, when we began operating the place, in the old hospital, people could spit about. But when they came to the new hospital, they will look at it, and when there is saliva in their mouth, they won't even spit. They will want to go out and go somewhere else to spit. Because the systems were in place, people were very efficient, and people were happy coming into the hospital. Sometimes it depends on how you look at things. If you are someone who, if you want to be respected, make sure that you look at that person who will be respected. For me, the management should make people see that they are serious about getting things done, and people will fall in. There is no doubt about that. When people see things that are right, they wouldn't want to do wrong to it. So in looking back, that is what we should be emphasizing upon, making sure that, but sometimes perhaps even the ministry might not know that some of the equipment that are supposed to be replaced are due. If we don't have a management system that will keep on having, giving knowledge about what is happening there, higher up might not know. But I don't say that higher up wouldn't be blamed in a way. We all have our faults. But if the structures within are working well and we are supervising well, some of the things we are seeing today wouldn't have been so.
Doctor, let me ask you an unfair question. I mean, you're a doctor, so you deal with unfair situations every day. I mean, if we were to apportion blame, who takes the bigger chunk? The lame patient, the turn a blind eye civil servant, or the over-politicized politician? I mean, who takes the bigger blame?
You are putting me in a very difficult position.
I know.
Let me say that I wouldn't put a blame on the lame patient. In fact, that person is a victim of what it is. That is a victim. What I will say is that it is a management failure.
Yeah.
And a management can include politicians, they can include the people at the ministry, they can include people who are managing the hospital itself. But let me also, I'm quick to also add that in natural fact, certain structures were put in place, or laws have been enacted to make sure that we are a little more efficient. So we have the teaching hospitals and the Ghana Health Service and teaching hospitals as Korle Bu itself had an act setting it up. These structures these laws were created, were enacted to make sure that they run very well. The ministry has its part to play, and the technical services, including the teaching hospital and Ghana Health Service, should be working well. But that is where we have the biggest problem. Ministry is supposed to be responsible for making sure that government business does well, not dealing with technical issues. Now we have technical people sitting down there. The ministry, I'm not talking of the technical areas, Ghana Health Service and the regulations or the teaching hospital board and all those things. but the ministry itself, in actual fact, not doing the right role they should be playing, making sure that they get, they find money, allocate the money, and make sure that it is distributed and monitor, supervise and monitor that people are doing the right thing. So that what I was saying about the services are not doing well, there should be a dashboard somewhere in the ministry. When I talk of a dashboard, a monitoring tool that will tell you that, look, in the past 6 months, we've seen this in Korle Bu appearing, which is a trigger for you to go and look at things well. We have not put all these things, but it's been a little difficult nowadays, but it's been there like that for a very long time for the father being in management for a long time.
That leads me to my next question, but I'll ask you the question and then I'll take a quick break and come back. And I just want to find out if the problems in Korle Bu is institutionalized, so that even if you were to put, a different manager there, the institution will sort of consume him. So hold on to that answer for me, but I'll just take one answer, one quick message from WhatsApp. It says, Nana, I think having a talk shop across media houses without any drastic measures to investigate, expose and punish the people responsible for the situation will not help address the situation in public service. This is Springs in Cape Coast, and the number is 0560 800 000. Get your messages coming in. I'll take a quick break. I'll catch up with a bit of questions, and then I'll go back to Doctor to find out if indeed Korle Bu's problem has now become a culture, a tradition, where changing becomes difficult. Don't move. Well, thank you very much for staying, and we are discussing the Ailing Korle Bu. One institution which, by all accounts, we should keep alive, well, fit, and running very efficiently, because you know what, you just don't know when you would need their services, and life is all about life. Now, if I go to your messages, this is from Jackson. It says, Nana, I just don't know how the ruling government wants to handle the nation. People's lives are at stake here. Why, Nana, don't they value human lives? If I go to the next one, it says, God have mercy on Ghana. A family friend has been taken to USA for brain tumor surgery. Let's ask ourselves, can the ordinary Ghanaian bear this cost? Sir Gordon Gorgesberg will be sad wherever he is. God save our souls. Amen. From AC Sutherland in Cape Coast. And then let me take one more. This one is from Willie from Kumasi. Nana, trust me, this country and every aspect of it is being deliberately, selfishly and wickedly dragged down. Our leaders and civil service heads are doing nothing to build this country upright. So people are justifiably upset. Let me take this one here. Nana, I was sad this evening when I watched the news on Joy News. In fact, we don't have to play with issues when they concern our health. But it seems we are playing politics with everything in this country, and our leaders don't care much about us. The problem reported at Korle Bu is just one of the numerous health challenges in the country. Similar problems are in other public hospitals. God save Ghana. This is Freeman from Agogo. Let me go to the phone and speak to Dr. Suri, who's the former Director General of Ghana Health Service. Doc.
Yes.
Doc, my question before we went on the break, I just want to find out if the Korle Bu issue has now become like institutionalized, where maybe with all your good intentions, maybe even if I put you there, they will just consume you because they won't let you change the system.
Yeah, I think what we need is re-engineering. You see, we've been working all this long and things are not improving. It is for us to sit back and look at what we put in place to make the place work. And I think the business community will want to say that let us relook at how we can make things work and go back to the drawing board and see what to put in place to make sure that the structure that will be created will work. And that is what we need. Not that perhaps people there are not good. They might be good, but we need to really relook at a different design to make it work. So I've said it before. Let the minister get a think tank group with all kinds of people, business people. People like you, Nana. Nana, I admire you, I salute you.
Oh, thank you.
Like your 2 o'clock. Is it Thursday, 2 o'clock?
Thursday, 2 o'clock.
Anytime I'm driving and it is 2 o'clock, I would like to listen to you.
Well, thank you.
We want to get people like you. Let us all go and sit down somewhere. Get a blueprint. How do we let things work? We are in a globalized world. Things have worked in some places. And we also have an indigenous talent to be able to come out with something that will work. Then we then put it out there. Who can fit into the new design? And Korle Bu will take off. Again, I want to go back to the Central Regional Hospital. When it was created, I was told to close the old place down and move every person to that place. I said no. I still need the old place. But I'll let people compete to be there. We interviewed people in the old hospital and interviewed others from other hospitals in Ghana.
Yeah.
And they went and started the new hospital. And I remember American Embassy, anything that happened in the west of Accra, they'll want them to go to Central Regional Hospital, the new hospital, Intervectin as they call it. What I'm saying is let us redesign. It is time. The old system doesn't seem to know how they can go out of this quagmire. So let us redesign, get talented people all over, and sit them and let them come out with a design, and we'll get the right people to be there. If it is that there are still people there who can operate in the new system, let it be. I'll give you another example.
Before you give me one example, let me throw this question in. Do you think it's time maybe we privatize Korle Bu, broke it up, gave maternity to Nyaho, gave the neurosurgeon to Lister, gave one to, Yabua Clinic, and just break it up? No.
We need a national hospital.
Okay.
Nyaho and others all still need Korle Bu. If Korle Bu is not there today, Nyaho wouldn't be there.
I see.
And I know that people in Korle Bu work in Nyaho. Korle Bu is a big national hospital. Comfort is a big national hospital. We should not run away from those such structures. They are good. The example I was going to give you is Jomo Kenyatta Hospital.
Okay.
In fact, in 2013, I retired from service in 2012. I was invited to Kenya to look at how they can devolve health services to the districts. And something I learned there, Jomo Kenyatta Hospital had a similar thing over years. They redesigned, and this time they said they wanted the best. Any person who in this world could make Jomo Kenyatta work, we will get that person in. And the chief executive officer, they finally fell on one of the wildlife officers, top person who had run wildlife in Kenya.
Yeah.
He took over Jomo Kenyatta Hospital.
Whoa.
I was at the meeting, the professor said they had conferred on him professorship because he turned the place round, because they had a blueprint, and they were telling those of us from other countries that medical tourism is not only to the advanced countries or South Africa, that now Jomo Kenyatta Hospital can do the many things that they couldn't do. It is just redesigning and get right people in place, and things can change. Korle Bu is needed. The peripheral hospitals are important. They will also take off the load, but when it comes to specialized cases and specialized teaching, you need Korle Bu. So it is important that we get the place working. All I'm saying is that let's redesign and see who can be there in the management of the place.
Dr. Asare,
some of those people there are good, but the current structure will not make it work well.
Dr. Asare, this Jomo Kenyatta Hospital thing is just got me thinking, because I know that most of the big hotels in Ghana, you know, the Tulip, all these big hotels, normally they just hire like a management company to run it for the owner, and then they take, I mean, can you do something like that with Korle Bu, where you hire like a private management company, you know, you pay them obviously, and then they run the institution for you? Is it possible?
That is why I'm saying let us look at the design first.
Okay.
When we have sat down together, we put think tanks. I've always said it, and I've even told, I'm not a politician, I'm just a technical person.
Sure.
I've told politicians, all that we do, look, you have manifestos, but how many of you have got think tanks? When you come to government, where are the think tanks set up so that they will look at things basically and come up with good ideas? When Russia went into space, what did the United States say? No, you've gone into space. We want to land on the moon. And they set up think tanks all over, not only into space. Even up to today, they set up think tanks. Where do we have that? So I'm saying let us get a design. When we get the design, if it is that we need a management company, it's what we will take to turn things around for us. Why not? We can do that.
Well, if you hold on for me, Doctor, and then I'll share some of the concerns of some of the viewers. This one says, Nana, no, we've corrected it. I think originally we moved doctor from the health to education sector, but we brought him back to health, so we are okay. This was Nana, please, can't we hold anyone responsible on this Korle Bu saga? We always talk about it, marvelously making things work with policies, but yet someone over there is seen free, taking no responsibilities whatsoever. Nana, God help us all as we enjoy his mercies. From Ebuakwa. Let's go to this one. Says Korle Bu is just the true reflection of the Ghanaian worker. We are just not ready for change. When hear the worker say things are good, it means there is some money to share, but not work with it. Let me take another message here. This one says, Nasikano, where is the tax monies? This poor girl had to suffer because of someone's mismanagement. Ghanaians must shine their eyes. The KNUST girl's death is just a misconstrued or a microcosm of what is happening in our health delivery system in Ghana. God save us, by Francis. Now, on that note, I'll just let you watch the little girl's story, or we'll hear from her father that story. So, doctor, hold on for me. Let's just hear what happened to the little girl.
In school, she couldn't write. She was feeling pains in the body, and that she became weaker. Each day, she became weaker. And when today the hand is weak, the next day the leg becomes weak. Then the left hand becomes weak. The next day, the left foot also becomes weak. And she was crippled. They said the temperature was too high for the surgery. So unless they treat the temperature to come down. And within the period from 2nd November to 12th November, they were unable to treat the temperature to come down for the surgery to go on. But within this period too, they prescribed medicines that we bought a tune of 10,000, which went into drugs, but still they didn't do the operation, and my daughter died.
Well, the numbers to send your comments in are 0560-800-000, but these are some of the sad realities that could happen. And this girl would never, ever be replaced. Even if you compensate the family $1 million, whatever it is, she's gone for good. And she could have been a president, she could have been a minister, a reverend minister, whatever. She's gone for good. Only because somebody decided to close and renovate a recovery ward for 2 years. Dr. Suri, I mean, what would make a hospital shut down a recovery ward for 2 years for renovation?
That is the saddest part of it. Why so? Why should it be closed down? It shouldn't be closed down at all. If it is closed down for repair, there should be an alternative place. So, but it should be within a very short period. It does happen that we have maintenance system and we have to get a place working. But to have that length of time is outrageous. We shouldn't be condoning such at all. A place will have been created for patients to be sent there while the place is put in order. But then it shouldn't take that long time. And this is part of the system's failure that I'm talking about. We have to re-engineer to see how Korle Bu can get back to its former glory.
Dr. Sorry, most of the comments you read, everybody say, look, we are going to talk, nobody will be punished. Going to talk, nobody will be punished. Nobody will be sacked. Everything stays the same. So, I mean, the Korle Bu, the medical stores got burnt down. It took a whole year before they read us the report as to whether something will happen. I mean, we are allergic to punishment, and therefore, it becomes very enticing to be irresponsible.
Thank you. Punishment is one of the management tools one can use. And the system has been set up in such a way that if punishment is to be instituted, it can be, including professional punishment. In actual fact, if a doctor is to appear before the Medical and Dental Council Disciplinary Committee, it is working at the level of a high court. You don't joke with it, or else your license, and even from there, you are not also exempted from being prosecuted for criminal offense. It is part of what we should be applying. And in designing whatever we want to do, we have to make sure that it is re-emphasized. In natural fact, I've told you that laws were set up to create the health system. And the laws have got regulations that when you break, you have to be punished. And I agree that sometimes we leave this to go on for a very long time. And that leadership is one of the things that the Ministry of Health should be leading. Getting the regulatory bodies to sit up. We hear all kinds of things. As a Director General, I have heard them. We have tried educating our own workers. We've set up all kinds of management systems. We have punished some people one way or the other, but perhaps it has not gone far enough. But I always say that if the system is structured well and working well, punishment will be, you will not be seeing many of what we are seeing today to be happening. And it should be part of the system that we are going to set up, or that is to be set up, not we are going to set up, because I'm no more in the. It all depends on how the ministry leads this leadership change. We need that urgently.
Let me get a bit of messages from here. And then this one says, you may think it's far away until it happens to you or someone really close to you. Rest in peace, Abigail. Take heart and be strong. This is Enoch Fusu. Cleopatra Oting says, oh my God, this is not the doctors. Mahama and his administration has all these blood on their hands. What a country we live in. God help us. Adams Ishaka Jr. says, oh, the grieved family of the deceased should take heart. Kofi Wasem says, it's a pity, and we still call this place a country governed by leaders. It's a shame to all of us. Kwame Abuaji Mensa, disaster awaits us. Ghana is virtually on its knees. Monies of politicians alone can develop Korle Bu. Aaron Ohini Boabin says, this is not about doctors. It's about poor systems in Ghana and misplaced priorities of our government. My heart bleeds for our country. If a doctor has all the degrees in this world and there's no good facilities in our hospital, he still can't apply his skills. Let's not blame the doctors. This is so sad. God save Ghana. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, we'll listen to Dr. Abdallah pour his heart out, and we'll get Dr. Suri to comment on it. So stay tuned. Well, thank you very much for staying, and thank you very much for sharing your comments. Is 0560 800 000. Lots of comments. There's one there for Dr. Suri. Says, why doesn't Dr. Suri let's just get him back in there to try and sort things out for us? So I think that's a compliment there. But we're going to listen to Dr. Abdallah, who's a spokesperson for specialist doctors in Ghana. And since we're talking neurosurgeon, we are talking serious specialty. But what were his concerns?
Currently in Korle Bu, the ICU for the hospital, which has about 12 beds, 6 for intensive care units and then 6 for HDU, has been undergoing renovation for almost 2 years. A day back as 15 February, so we've actually done 2 years now. And so it's only the recovery ward of the surgical theater which is currently functional, and we have patients from the obs and gynae, emergency or the labor ward. We have all surgical patients who are operated on, who also are sometimes sent to the ICU. So now the recovery ward, which basically was established to take care of patients who have had their normal surgery and need to be covered for 1 or 2 hours, is now also serving as an ICU. And because of that, once you have 4 patients who need ICU care and they occupy the beds of the recovery ward of the surgical unit, it becomes difficult to admit patients for surgery.
In a can, they say it's your young kuhua, it's your diem, say, says you, if your friend's chin is on fire, fetch a pail of water and leave it next to yours, because it could be you. Dr. Siri, I mean, just 4 beds. So the 5th patient, literally, you have to wait. That's the reality. Have I got Dr. Suri?
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor, we just listened to yes. Dr. Abdallah, Mohammed Abdallah, and it's frightening.
Yes. You see, as I said, it is good to expand. It is good by now. Korle Bu should have been secure and doing well. Then you move and set up other places that can take the load. Comfort Norte should have been fully operational and having the complement of what it needs. Tamale should be. 37 has always been. So, but we don't make sure that the ones that are behind, that were first there, are destroyed. we expand, making sure that these ones are secure. And indeed, the number of patients has increased. The time that Dr. Mustafa, the great Mustafa, was there, it's not in 2016. So we should have been, at this time, having a number of complements of beds within Korle Bu, whilst even going out. What I'm saying, over the years, we have not planned it very well so that we can roll out. And we left Korle Bu to deteriorate to this level. That will need a lot of money to fix that place before we move out. That is the kind of thinking we should not now look at. And that is why I'm looking at getting a new system running altogether so that we don't fail to make sure that we secure what is on ground whilst we are moving to put in more new facilities and get many more people to be nearer where health.
Dr. Asare, let me give you one last unfair question before you go. So education is complaining, health is complaining, road sector is complaining. You know, so who's getting what, Dr. Asare?
Well, well, it is really an unfair
one. Yes, a very unfair one.
But see, we can never, even the advanced countries, United States, doesn't have everything.
No.
It is how we plan, how we fix, how we sequence things, prioritize things. Education will look at what they will do this year. I say if Korle Bu knows that this year it will be fixed, and Comfortnotti knows that next year things will be fixed, Comfortnotti wouldn't mind for money to go to Korle Bu this year. When we spread the funding so thin that it will not be effective, we have to sit back and look at, do we get something running now and move to the next? So funding is never enough anywhere in this world.
Just prioritization.
So that's all that I can say.
Is the prioritization that we are getting wrong.
Exactly. That is what is important.
Well, Dr. Asare, thank you so much for that education, the concern, the empathy, and the tips. And as they say, let those with ears, let them hear. And because it is health, we pray that somebody hears, so that if it comes to our turn, there will be an extra bed there for either us or a family member. Dr. Asare, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nana. As I said, I really admire you for doing a good job. Continue. We are behind you.
Thank you. I am chapped and I take that compliment on board. But let me take this opportunity. This 26th of March, Easter celebrations in Edumasa is going to be big. It's going to be 5 years since I was put on the throne as the chief of Edumasa. Further details will be coming, so this is just a preliminary comment. So 26th of March, all roads leads to the little republic of Akwamu Edumasa, and everyone is invited, and it's a packed day. The details will come. But thank you very much for watching, and thank you for bringing your comments in on this sad story. We'll look into it, and hopefully somebody with ears will hear and make a change for us all, leave a better Ghana for posterity. My name is Nana Sakwa. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you.